Hi, this is the second video I'm doing for Yoga Flow. Our Yoga Flow classes are on Monday nights at Creswell and on Wednesday nights at East Markham. You can just follow from home, you don't even have to come to class, so hopefully you'll find this useful. This flow's for wrists, so I'm looking at building up some strength into the wrists. I'm going to break it down, the flow, and go through all the parts. First part is taken from Tai Chi. It's a lovely sequence called the Elements sequence. So you stand in mountain pose, traditional yoga mountain pose, which is with feet hip width apart, tucking under the tailbone or levelling that down so that we level the pelvis. We've got a nice tall stance, and that means that the back can rise out the pelvis with no effort, hopefully. So we just start in a nice traditional pose for our mountain pose, Tadasana, with the hands in prayer. Relax the shoulders, keep the neck nice and long, and then we're just going to take a soft bend into the knees, sweep the arms, and this is our element stretch. So the first part of this is sweeping up and then taking the hands down. So this little kind of bend into the wrists, movement into the shoulders, really beneficial. And then we take a sweep out and bring that out, and then we push that down. So the elements are fire, so we think of anything to do with fire, perhaps strength or courage, or even the colour red as we go through these moves. So that's our fire as we come up. Perhaps we need a little strength today, so we bring that in. And then as we bring the hands down, this is air, so we can kind of visualise the air gently pushing down through the body. And that's a really kind of purifying thought as we take that air through. We might have the colour white or blue, whatever comes to mind there. And then the next element is earth. So we kind of dig deep as though our hands are shawls, take them digging down into the earth. And I like to think of this one as grounding, and also what do we need today? What can we bring in? Take that into the body and absorb that. So that's our earth. And then we've got the final one is water. This is kind of letting go. It's really nice to think that we could just let go of anything we didn't need in our practice and in our daily lives. Maybe today there's frustrations about the wrists, so maybe we just kind of let go, let the water wash away. And it makes this lovely kind of swirl as we take the wrists back round. So this is a lovely movement for the wrists. If we just want to get into the breath practice of this elements sequence, we use the inhale to sweep up. We exhale to draw down to the heart space. We inhale, breathe in that earth, grounding, that strength, and we exhale, let that go in water. So that's our first part, and we're going to keep coming back to that because it's so lovely for the wrists. It's such a lovely movement. Rotation into the wrist is really good. Those of you who suffer with arthritis or carpal tunnel, anything that's giving you stiffness, tightness, or kind of general problems in the wrists, then any kind of movement, getting in there just nice and gentle. We're going to bring a little stronger movement in, but we can just stay with that and use our elements stretch. So we're going to do 3 of those, and on the very last one we bring the hands up together and we roll down through the spine. It's really nice for the back. So we bring the hands into the centre, soften the knees, and we roll down all the way into our forward fold and just kind of hang it out, let it go, ragdoll style. And then as we inhale, we're going to bring that up to our half bow. So nice long spine, nice long neck. We don't want to be kind of in this rounding. So lengthen, we draw the shoulders away, elbows are back, and these hands and wrists are in this nice position, just kind of fingers down and just gently pressing onto the thighs. And then we release that down. And we're going to take a step back into lunge. So for this side, we're just going to go to one side and then obviously work it to the other side when you're doing this at home. So we take the right foot back, and that's into our lunge. So what happens when we step back into lunge is we can end up in this kind of rounded back. So we can take that foot a little bit further away. We can start to sink down so that we're just coming into inside the thigh. We're still hugging that thigh in so we don't let the knee drop out. We keep the shoulders over the wrists, and we make our lunge a nice strong pose of its own right, rather than just being the transition. Although we are using it to transition to the next pose, we want to take a moment in that when we work through the flow. So from our lunge, we're going to, maybe we've took a big stride or we've made that a bit stronger, so we might hop that back foot back in a little way so we can drop down into warrior stance to bring ourselves all the way up to our sun warrior. So sun warrior, we're going to take an inhale, sweep up, the right arm comes up and left arm comes up. And notice I've got the front leg straight. Often in sun warrior we keep that front knee bent. This is a straight leg sun warrior. We might support the back with the back hand there, or we might let that arm relax right down. We might look down to that back foot or look up to the hand. Then we take it from our sun warrior into warrior two with the knee bending, just either over that front ankle or a little bit back from. We find a nice softness in the shoulders in warrior two, and then we're going to take our elements. So from here we sweep the arms down, we take them up and around, breathing out, sending that air strengthening down to those legs, inhaling into our earth, exhale, letting go. So we take that 3 times in our flow. So if you just want to go through the flow, once you kind of got it, it's a separate video, so you can just start straight into it. So from our 3 elements, we're going to then take a little sweep down, a windmill stretch with the arms all the way back to our lunge. So the left arm's coming down, the left arm's going to take 1 full rotation. The right arm comes over, the back foot pivots, we take that left arm all the way around, we come back to our lunge. And from here we're going to drop the back knee. We're going to work into dragon pose. So the first part of dragon is to come up into this position. It's your choice with the back foot either to keep on the toes there or unhook and flatten onto the front of the foot. So we can use this pose just gently, keeping it right here if you've only difficulty in the knee, or we might move forward into a much more deeper hip stretch of our dragon pose. So that's your option. You can stay here to keep it in the knee, and I've got 2 mats, as you'll notice down here, to give a little bit of support for the knee, or you can roll up the mat a little or put a blanket or some support underneath. And the wooden floors, it's a little bit challenging for the knee to rock forward and back, so maybe you just stay here when you do your elements, working round, and you might keep it just nice and tall, and just think about that lovely work into the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, a nice breath work as you work through. Or you might like to take it a little deeper into your dragon. So in that case, we come down, as we bring the hands down to the heart space, we're tucking under the tailbone, we're making it nice and strong in the thigh, and then when we come to our earth, we reach forward. We bring that back into the heart space. So we're rolling a little on that back knee, so see how you feel about that. And then we'll bring that through, sweeping. And again, we do 3 of those into our dragon stretch. On the last one, we bring the hands tall, prayer, and then down to the floor. And we take that left foot back, and we're into tabletop. So we spread out the fingers and shoulders over wrists. So we get a really nice, strong support. And this is what often we find difficult in the wrists, is to get this kind of strong angle there. So if it does feel a challenge for you, just kind of widen it out a little, soften through those wrists a little bit. So we're going to go from here into cat pose. Also, the option that I forgot to tell you as well, if you do really find it very strong for the wrist, just kind of soften out, bring it down to elbows, or you can even use a block. I've got a bolster there. You don't need particular good bought props. You can find a nice strong dictionary to use, but you could kind of come and rest those hands, arms onto the block there, so it brings you a little bit higher up. If you feel, kind of going onto forearms and lowers that cat pose, it kind of takes it out at the right angle. So, options to kind of bring the earth up to you. So we're going into our cat pose from here. We're going to do 3. So cat pose, we tuck under the tailbone, we leg over the head and neck, we arch the spine on the exhale, and then as we inhale, tip down through the spine, we drop into the shoulder blades, and then we take that back. So we do 3 of those, travelling the awareness up and down the spine and keeping nice and strong in those wrists, unless it feels just that little too much for you today. So when we've done our 3, our next challenge is a little bit stronger, taking it into tiger stretch. So we reach out through the right arm and the left leg at the same time. And you can either push through that heel, or you can point the toes, whichever feels nice. Find your balance, find your centre area, and as you reach out, kind of plug that shoulder back in a little so you're not overreaching. As you exhale, we draw that in, tuck in to the belly. Inhale and lengthen. So keep a nice long line if you can. Resist trying looking forward. That hand knows where it's going, so we don't need to watch it. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, lengthen. And then we bring that back. So we're just doing 1 to this side, but you can do 1 to each side, or you can just come to the other side on the other part of the flow. We go from there because the wrists might be quite tired in this bit, so we come from there down into child pose, sit back to the heels. We bring the hands above the head. Now, if this feels a real strong stretch, maybe you bring your hands just here, rest the head on the hands. A nice move for the wrists can be just to bring them in this position, resting the chin in the hands. If you can, take the hands over the head, just bring them into prayer position, move the elbows away a little, feel that stretch into the rib cage, into the armpits, into the shoulders. Just kind of enjoy it. And if your wrist felt a little bit sore from that last cat and tiger stretch, you can take some massage into the wrists. Or even keep it a really nice soft child pose and let the hands relax, curl the fingers, let them be soft. We'll take a little rotation there. So lots of choices to keep the wrists soft. And then we take an inhale, we uncurl into kneeling, or sitting if kneeling's a little problem for you. So we come into kneeling, we're nice and tall in the spine, and then we take an inhale, we lift the hands, and we lift kind of from the wrists. So we bring them up in this way, we curl them over, and then as we exhale, we push away, so we're pushing into a very strong door, kind of pushing that open. So we take an exhale, and because the exhale's longer than the inhale generally, we've got that a little bit slower. So the inhale sweeps down and up, and then we take a very long, strong exhale, pushing away. So we do 3 of those. 3 is the magic numbers, you'll notice all the way through our flow. So on the very last one, we're working towards a pose called crow. Now, if you've heard of crow, you've seen it, it can be very off-putting because it's very strong on the wrists, and also it requires a lot of balance. But I'm giving you options, as I always do, to help access this pose and the benefits of the pose. And we have to look at that when we're looking at our yoga. It's what is the aim of the pose, what's the benefit, and how can I get it without doing the full pose. We've not got a list, a checklist that we've got to tick off in our yoga practice. We just have to find what works for us. So the benefits of crow is the amount of strength we're putting down through the bones, bone loading down into the wrists. Gives us a real, good challenge for those wrists, those shoulders, the arms themselves. So we've got all this work going down. So that can be just simply put into the wrists by lifting the knees from the floor. So I'm in this first modified crow, lifting the knees, keeping the weight working down through the shoulders to the wrists. You can check in with the head and neck, make sure you're not kind of tilting up with the chin there. Keep a nice long neck and breathe. So you might take in your flow, I've encouraged my students to take 5 breaths here if they're doing the modified, and really that just gives everybody a chance to do whatever variation they want to do, because we need a little time to set up the full crow. So the next option that you might take is to walk the feet a little bit closer to your hands, And then we bend the elbows inwards, so we're taking a real draw in. We keep the elbows at shoulder width apart, so we've got a little bit of a pull in there. Keep nice and long in the neck. And then we lift up onto the toes so that we bring the knees as high as we can in onto those upper arms. And then this can be just our variation. We come to rest the body, the weight of the legs, the weight of the body onto those upper arms. And we just kind of take the strain there. And trying really to get those forearms nice and straight. So from the elbow to the wrist, a nice straight, strong column. Watch what happens with the neck. We tend to be looking forward, so don't crease into the back of the neck. So that's your second option. So we hold there and breathe, maybe 3 breaths here because it takes a little time to get set up. So the full crow, if you're going there, you want to take that weight forward just a touch to take the feet off the floor. So this is strong, it's a balance. You might want to, the first time you have a go at this, put some cushions or the bolster in front so that if you do kind of tip forward, you don't face plant the floor. So give yourself some support, and don't worry if you wobble, and just the same benefit and work that in the 2 preceding poses we can get from those, the same as crow. So don't get frustrated and keep putting a little bit of weight through those wrists. So if we're in this modified pose, here, we're going to do our 5 breaths and then rock back into a little mini down dog just so that we can walk the hands in to a forward fold. And there, you might take a little rotation around into the wrists just to release, let them go before you roll up to mountain pose. If you're in those variations, so either just kind of resting onto the upper arms, then you're just going to kind of come off, or your crow, you're going to come off those arms, bring the hands in, and again, give yourself a little roll around in the wrist, release. So it's quite a powerful pose, but we've got a couple of options there. And we're going to come up, uncurling, come all the way up, mountain pose with extended arms, and then we're going to take just one last posture here, stepping back into warrior 1. So my warrior 1 is slightly different to those that you'll see on most sites. I was very influenced by Pete Blackerby, who suggested that we keep these hips facing forward towards the front of the mat to keep from shearing the back. So you can read a little bit more about it in his book if you want to look that up. So my warrior 1, hips are facing forward, up on the toes at the back, the hip and the knee almost in line. We maybe keep a little straightness in that knee, you can see how you feel about that, or we're dropping down and we're coming back to that elements. So from our step back, from our mountain, we'll sweep back, and then we'll take the arms up. And here we might straighten up, just see how you feel as you go through this. Maybe as you draw the hands down, you can take a little dip down, you come to a heart space. And then reach forward, but don't lean too much with the body. So your options here, you could straighten up, bring that down, maybe straighten up and take it a little into towards flight if you like. You could straighten that back leg. Or you can just stay nice and static, warrior 1, because it's a challenge for the balance. So maybe we just, all this arm movement, we maybe just want to keep the legs nice and still so we can hold that. And then the last one, we're going to take the arms up, palms together, and then we'll sweep them down and step up. And that's it, that's our flow for this term. So I'm still doing this for a couple of weeks. If you want to turn up to a couple of any of my classes, this is Monday and Wednesday evening. Otherwise, just following this yourself at home. If you want to build up a little bit of strength, a little energy, the wrists feel really worked and tingly after the practice. You can leave out the crow if it seems a little bit more advanced for you yet, or you can just do the modifications or just do cat. Any amount of weight, bone loading we can do down through the wrists is going to be excellent for them. Okay, so if you want to hop over to see the full flow, that's a separate video. So my wrist flow, get over there now, we'll go through it all in one go and to music.